Morning legends, it's Q&A Monday. You know what that means? We're getting it done. It's another week, everything starts again, you know, mileage is back at 0, cycling mileage is back at 0, and so it's another opportunity to smash it out this week. Now, the first question is, what's your resting heart rate? Well, my resting heart rate right now is about 42 on average for the last week. You know, when I was unfit, maybe a couple of months ago, it was 50, which is fucked. My peak fitness is probably around 36 or 35, something around there. So I'm, you know, slowly getting back to that fitness level. Oh, but I need to go run 8 Ks before I start work. And I don't have a great deal of time. And there's no other hat that I would run 8 Ks in than this hat. Welcome 10 at checkout. That was a nice 9K run. I had to have a little toilet side quest, so it ended up being 9Ks, but that's pretty good, you know, slowly building up week by week. Let's go. Next question. It's really hard for me to know when the shoes are really, really dead. Like, how do we know if it's time to replace, not bouncy anymore, or what? Well, the way that I think about when running shoes are actually dead is when the foam is compressed so much that it feels like you're running barefoot. It feels like as soon as you put your foot down to contact the ground, there's no squish before you actually feel the road. It's like you put your foot down and you just slap into the road. That's the way that I would think about it, but you know, everyone's kind of different. Some people can actually just tear through the shoes and just put holes in them before they're, you know, it's time to go. I feel like the foam tends to get a bit fucked up for me before any kind of upper holes or anything like that. It's kind of hard to explain. But sometimes you just get a shoe that just feels so good and fits your geometry so well that, like, even when they are dead, they still feel real nice. It's a great feeling. But I want you guys to let me know in the comments, oh my God, what shoes are your favorite at the moment and how long you think they're actually gonna last? Because running shoes these days last like fucking 200 kilometers.
I was like 115 kilos,
oh, yeah.
Backpack, so I put like 2 bricks in the back and I was walking around everywhere doing about 6-7K almost a day. You know?
Yeah, that's good.
And I lost all that weight and...
Bloody look at your calves.
Yeah, it made my calves stronger, but that's where your fucking testosterone and shit comes from when your legs go. Like,
comes from your legs.
Builds up, like, you don't have to really do like weights and like run or anything. Like, all right,
easy, man. Have a good run, all right? Interesting encounter. What a fucking legend. He can't afford a gym membership, so he just walks 6 to 8 Ks every day because having strong calves means that you get more testosterone. It checks out physiologically. Yeah, could see him out there smashing it out. Oh man, I'm still in that stage with my running right now where, like, even though the run feels easy and, you know, is easy, like after it, I just feel a bit fried. Like it just takes like a couple of months of consistent running just to get rid of that, just feeling like shit after a run and just feeling tired and like I need to go to sleep. But anyways, next question, and probably the most interesting one today. I've got a question. Well, yeah. What is your recommendation for building up mileage? Do you go by the 10% rule or what? Thanks. Thank you for the question. And this is quite an interesting one because I think it actually can be really important to do 10%, and it can also be completely pointless because, you know, if you're already a very established runner, increasing your mileage by 10% is going to just be way too much after a while. Like say, for example, you're running 8Ks a week, or sorry, 80Ks a week, Jesus. So you've been running 80Ks for a week for a while, and then you go from 80 to 88, and then, you know, what, like 96, and then within 3 weeks, you've basically gone from 80 to like 100 and whatever ends up being 106. And that's like quite a lot of mileage to add in not a great deal of time. I think 10% is valuable when you're coming back from an injury or something like that. You can slowly just add 10% worth of volume throughout the, you know, time until you get to a certain level that you feel is going to be appropriate for your goals and your fitness levels and stuff like that. But if you're already at that level, doing the 10% rule is not going to be valuable. In my opinion, the best way to increase your mileage as a more long-term strategy is actually to do 4 to 6 weeks at a given, you know, mileage per week, then have a deload week, and then bump it up probably more than 10%, maybe even like, you know, 15%, and attack that new level off fresh deloaded legs, and then do that for 4 to 6 weeks, and then repeat that again and repeat that again, and keep having these deloads every month or two. And then, you know, think about things more long-term. Like you can increase your mileage slowly over time, over months and years. That's probably the best way to do it and the safest way to do it. When you're coming back from injury, you can go with the 10% rule and it works pretty well. But even then, you can break the rule. Say, for example, like myself, I'm running basically every other day. And so I could potentially boost my mileage up by more than 10% and it not be so risky because I'm actually getting in recovery days every single other day. That could be a way to break the 10% rule. What really matters is your own actual situation and your training history. And yeah, I've got dates. Hopefully they'll give me some energy back today. But I may very well have to have a little 5-minute power nap. I don't know why I'm such a big pussy now that I'm back running consistently again. I'm just tired on the running days, like fuck. Okay, next question. When do you have shorts with compression liner? Do you use underwear? I think he's asking, when you're wearing shorts that have the underlining, do you wear underwear? This is a very interesting question and maybe a controversial one because I still wear underwear anyway. I've never actually really thought about this until right now, but yeah, I still wear underwear. It would be weird for me to not wear underwear. I feel like people would be able to see my dick. And I don't think people necessarily want to see that. So is this a topic that people debate about, whether you wear underwear under your shorts or not? I don't really know. It's a bit of an interesting one. Maybe let me know in the comments below if you wear underwear under your shorts and if you don't. And explain why you wouldn't wear underwear. I guess if the underwear are built in, that makes a lot of sense, you know? But yeah, I'm just a bit thrown here. Like I'm gonna have to contemplate this probably for the rest of the day. Okay, next question. Bike workouts to help your running. Well, here's the thing about biking, and it's what I'm starting to realize right now, is that it's much more muscular endurance as it is, you know, cardiovascular endurance, especially if your cadence is not really, really high. So I actually think that for runners in particular, starting with shorter reps for, you know, threshold stuff, for example, is going to be way more beneficial. Like I've been doing 2-minute efforts up a hill with a 2-ish minute rest as I'm rolling back down the hill, and it kind of like fills my legs with lactate, and then I can just let it drain back out as I'm rolling back down the hill, as opposed to doing longer stints of threshold stuff. I just find that my legs get absolutely fucked on the bike compared to running. So I think keep your workouts short and sweet, at least for the first couple of months before you start to stretch out those efforts, because the legs take a little bit of time to actually build up some cycling strength. People that say that cyclists aren't strong, like, mate, have you ever tried to push 500 watts for like any longer than 2 seconds? It's nuts. They're some of the strongest motherfuckers in the world. Now, last week, someone replied to one of my videos and told me to use a mobility routine from Run Better with Ash. And I tell you what, whoever said that, I can't remember who said it, but that is such a good call, because this channel is absolutely sick and I'm just like ripping through all the different mobility routines every day. It's so much more fun than just doing the same thing that I've been doing every day for the last couple of months. Run better with Ash. So good. Okay, back to the old reliable hip stretch. Now, last question. How strong of a core do you actually need for running? At what point is getting more core strength pointless? I think that's a very interesting question, something I've not really thought about a great deal, because I don't push my core stuff too hard. You know, I try to keep the same level of functioning in my core, you know, and if you're not getting any pain in your core or your lower back and you have full mobility, that's probably pretty good. What I would say is that a nice general benchmark would be like a 2 minute to a 3 minute plank is a pretty good core benchmark. Being able to do a side plank with your leg in the air, not down. So doing a side plank like this with your leg in the air, being able to do that for a minute also shows that you have significant hip and core strength. Those are the two benchmarks that I can think of off the top of my head as to what you could actually aim for. And once you can do that, it's just all about maintaining it, baby. Like, you don't need the strongest core in the world to do running. Like, you're not picking up 500 kilos off the ground, are you? So your core doesn't have to be that strong. It just has to be able to withstand the forces of running. Now, maybe if you're doing a lot of running, you need to boost that core up a little bit more so that it has more endurance, so that when you do start to fatigue on longer runs, it could be something to work on, that's for sure. But for me right now, I'm just sticking with my age-old 2 to 3 minute plank and then 1 minute planks on each side as my benchmark. If I get worse than that, which I actually have over the Christmas period, I just couldn't do the side plank all of a sudden for a while there, so I fixed that up. But if you're getting that, then I reckon you're probably pretty good with your core, you know. But that's about everything that I have today. That's all of the questions. Hats for sale, welcome 10 at checkout. Get around it. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Get your questions in the comments below. Peace.